And what I'm saying is that men that are liberal a lot of the times don't necessarily have these attractive traits to women that you're trying to say. Like, women don't want a guy that's going to go 50-50 and let them lead certain things and everything. Women want dominant men in general. Just because you like liberal men doesn't mean that a majority of women do. Most girls don't.
Well, where are you getting the most from? I could say the same thing to you. Just because most of the women you know don't like that doesn't mean that most women, unless you have stats for that, are conservative men having an easier time with men than liberal men?
The world since the beginning of time, and women have liked that about men. Most women want a guy that earns more money than them, that's a leader, that's stronger than them, that's taller than them. The women want a guy who's superior in general. I mean, this is biology. You don't need studies for common sense. Like, this is just what women are attracted to.
I think that's what women are attracted to in general, but as we see, as times are changing, people are changing. So evolution didn't just malfunction in 2023. There's a reason there are less stringent gender roles in 2023, especially of people that have a higher socioeconomic status, are educated. They don't adhere to these kind of rigid gender roles. And you see in more advanced countries. No, in more advanced countries, they're less stringent because it's not as needed, because no one needs to know how to wield a sword in 2023. You're not getting attacked by your neighboring village. Like, we don't need those things
So
anymore.
why do women still want guys that make more money than them and taller than them and stronger than them?
That's changing. I mean, there's already studies on that. Like in Europe, hypergamy is on the decline, all of that. And it's recent that women are able to have the economic freedom that they have. And since then, it's slowly changing. In fact, a lot of women now are dating men that are less educated than them.
And how does that go?
Almost half of U.S. households now have women earning just as much or more than the man.
And what happens?
Yeah.
What do you mean what happens?
They break up.
Yeah. What are the relationships like?
Well, I mean, the things you guys say to look for are actually the things most statistically likely to end in divorce. Like, going for a woman way younger than you increases your likelihood of divorce. It doubles it. If you date a woman 10 years younger than you, you're 40% more likely to get a divorce, and she's going to initiate. The younger partner is usually the one that initiates it. If you marry a woman who's not college educated, your likelihood of divorce also doubles. So if you guys are talking about statistics,
actually, college-educated women are more likely to initiate divorce.
You have a selection bias there. So you're looking at the couples that are already getting divorced, and you're saying, "Oh, she's more initiated." No, you don't know stats.
No, you're just arguing to argue.
No, that's true. Can I explain?
And you've said a bunch of bullshit stats on the last show as well. A bunch of people fact-checked you and was like, "This girl's
no."
talking out her
Your
ass.
audience also looks up my fake name and thinks I'm not a lawyer. I have my bar card in my purse. I'm trying to say that your selection bias. Let me explain it to you. If you're looking at couples who are already getting divorced, and you're saying who's more likely to initiate out of that crowd, that is not the same thing as looking at all married people in general, because you're only looking at the couples that are already getting divorced. College educated women are less likely to be in that group in the first place. Does that make sense to you?
Let's see here.
We could look this up. Look up college educated women divorce instead of your I don't know how to.
Okay, so here's some stats for you that
they're
wrong.
far more likely.
What?
For our show, we have girls of both jobs, 16%, not 30%. And 231
more
job
than
titles.
0.2.
Huh?
More than 0.2%.
Yeah, but that's not a majority. And then
I didn't say majority.
What?
I was closer to the number than you, because I said 30, and it's 0.2 is the actual number.
The point is, everyone doesn't do OnlyFans on the show.
I didn't say everybody does, but I'm saying that's an overrepresented population on your show than in the general population. That was my point.
No, but I just showed you 16%.
No, but you shifted the goalposts. What I'm trying to say is that regardless of a woman's profession, she still looks for certain types of men.
I'll tell you something interesting from Dr. David Buss.
Yeah.
I actually live in Sweden, so it's like the most feminist country. Sweden, Denmark. It's an interesting place to live part-time. But Dr. Buss actually found, he's been my mentor for 10 years. He traveled, he's been in like 60 countries. Believe it or not, it's very stable. Women in the most feminist country in the world, like Sweden, they actually still like men, care more that men make more money than them. The Philippines.
Buss has also gone back on a lot of what he said in the past couple of years. Like, he's changed his mind on a lot of things. I think a good resource for men that are is like Dr. Richard Reeves. He's a really great resource. And
Dr. Buss he's the most cited guy out there. Now, I agree with you that every doctor, every PhD in hindsight is going to make mistakes. But I can tell you, for example, just a classic one, you're right. It is a primitive thing that women like men taller than them. But in every country in the world, no chick likes Danny DeVito. Like, 4'11" dude's going to struggle. Doesn't matter there's no bear. Doesn't matter there's no mammoth, like, so genes change slow. I've read about 1% per 10,000 years.
But it's changing. That's why if you look up like hypergamy in Europe, you could look up hypergamy decline. You're going to see published papers that have looked at countries, especially in Europe and in the US, where women are entering the workforce. They're looking for these things less and less. It takes a long time to change, like you said. So it's not 100% yet, but it is changing. It's just changing slowly.
But a majority of women overwhelmingly prefer a man that's better than them in every regard. Like, you're trying to make the argument, like, social constructs don't adhere to reality a lot of the times. We try to sit here and say there's 75 genders. Oh, it's okay for a woman to lead, etc. It doesn't work. Like, it sounds good on paper, but it doesn't work.
If it doesn't work, then why are we moving towards that as a country? Why don't you go back to?
And
why
look
don't
at
you?
how the country's going.
Yeah.
I feel like it's fine. If you, what's wrong with it?
It's chaos. Marriage is plummeting. Like
Actually, you know, the one group marriage isn't plummeting for, though, college educated, higher education women and people in the highest socioeconomic status bracket, their marriages are staying the same. Everyone else's is going
That's not the
down.
majority, though.
No, but what I'm